Okay, this is a little teleporting trick that I saw on the Card Magician's YouTube channel. I'm not going to put a link, but if you want to go and dig further into this trick, it's The Card Magician, the space card space magician, and you can find out a lot more about how this works on that channel. I'm just going to demonstrate this trick, so I quite liked it. We've got a deck here. I'll spread it out, and you may be wondering what the 10 of diamonds is doing separate on the table. Well, this is the only card that is red. All the rest of the deck is blue. All right. I'll leave them spread actually, because we now need the participant to take any card. Take a card out. We've now got the 3 of clubs, and I'll tell you what, let's sign the card as well. What shall we sign it with? Put a name on it. Here we go. We now have a signed card. Now, as per usual, we're going to lose the card and we're going to find it again. That's a staple for a lot of card tricks that I do. We'll take the card, put it about halfway into the deck. Now we're going to use our special 10 of diamonds to locate the card. That's how we're going to find the card. Okay. So let's give the deck a shuffle to start with. And we're just going to use half the deck. So cut it like that. So let's use our 10 of diamonds to locate your card. We don't know where your card is now that the deck's been shuffled, and we put it halfway down in the deck. But let's do this, and things may look the same, but big changes are taking place. Watch, I now turn over the 10 of diamonds, and wait a minute. What happened to the 10 of diamonds? What happened to the 10 of diamonds? I'll show you. Not only did the 10 of diamonds go deeper into the deck, but it teleported from one half of the deck to the other. And it's here, look. Now the reason that it went to this specific location in this half of the deck is because this card right here is the signed card that we lost. So that's the trick. Hopefully it came across okay-ish. I've only practiced it a little bit. But go, as I said, to the Card Magician channel if you want to dig in a little bit more into that trick. Get a bit more into the nitty-gritty of what's going on with it. I don't want to give anything away. So that's the beginning of this video. I thought I'd introduce this next video with just a little bit of a card trick to start with. But the meat and potatoes of the video is something else I've been working on lately, which is a card stack. Right? So a card stack is cards arranged throughout the deck in a particular order. And I'm not all that familiar with many card stacks. In fact, I only know the Bart Harding stack. I don't know, for example, Mnemonica or the Aronson stack. I've never looked into them, but I thought if I'm going to start looking into stacks, I felt as though I should invent my own stack. And I feel as though the stack that I've come up with is actually quite clever and a pretty good stack. So I thought I'd share it. I'd share it with you. And you can judge for yourself whether you think it's for you or not. So when you spread the cards, you say, look, it's just an ordinary shuffled deck. And I'll do that a bit closer so you can see it more. Just an ordinary shuffled deck. And it does look like an ordinary shuffled deck. If you just quickly show it like that, you obviously do not want to show this and allow the person to scrutinise it too closely. Because, for one thing, it's red, black, red, black, red, black, red, black all the way through. And another thing, it is all the cards continue in a cycle of chased clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds. So it starts off, if I show you the first 13 cards, I don't know the best way to show you actually. The first 13 cards, put them like that, get closer. The first 13 cards are in the order Ace 5, Jack 8, 2, 9, 6, 3, Queen, King, 10, 7, 4. And it continues. Then with, once again, Ace, 5, Jack. But of course it's the Ace now is the Ace of Hearts. And it's going to continue with that chased sequence to the end of it with the 4 of Diamonds. So this order that I've chosen, so that just to go back to the nature of this stack. So the nature of the stack is, it's red, black, red, black. That's what I want. I wanted a red, black stack. It's also a cyclic stack. So it's 13 cards, and then 13 more in the same order, 13 more in the same order, and in the same order for the 4th time. So it's a cycle. You can do lots of wonderful tricks with a cyclic stack. So I definitely wanted the stack to be cyclic. And I wanted it to be red black because you can do amazing things with red black stacks as well. They give you a lot of power to do amazing things. People think that the deck is a random deck, but you have a lot more control over that deck than people realise. Now when the deck, because it's cyclic, if you cut the deck anywhere, it still maintains its cycle, right? So if this is a 9, I know that the card at the bottom is a 2. I know that if I can't see it, because I know that the 9 follows the 2. I know the next card is a 6. So this order, Ace, 5, Jack, 8, 2, 9, 6, 3, Queen, King, 10, 7, 4. I'm quite new to this myself, but it's quite an easy order to remember, and it does pay to remember the order of those 13 cards. And the cycle is never broken, no matter how many times the deck is cut. Also, the colour of the bottom will always be the opposite of the colour on the top. Because it's a red, black with 52 cards, it will always be red, black, red, black. So for example, if I dealt this deck into 2 piles, I always know that one pile will end up black and the other pile will end up completely red. No matter how many times the deck is cut, that's always going to happen. Now the order of the cards, the Ace 5, Jack, Ace 5, Jack 8, 2, 9, 6, 3, Queen, King, 10, 7, 4. This order, it's not just a random decision, and it's not just something that I thought would be catchy to remember. The sequence is there for a specific reason. I didn't really choose the sequence. the sequence chose me, in effect. I'll show you how. So if you cut the deck so that the 4 of diamonds is on the bottom, right? The sequence of the cards helps you to be able to find the position of any card in the deck. So for example, if I say to Alexa now, Alexa, name any playing card. Alexa, name any playing card.
Your card is the 10 of hearts.
So the 10 of hearts has been chosen. Now, when I hear the number 10, it calls to mind a number. And the number has the digital sum 10. So the 10 is telling me what the digital sum of this number is. So in this case, it's 3 and 7, 37, because 3 plus 7 equals 10. Now that is the location of the 10 of clubs in the deck. So all the cards in there, with the exception of 2 cards, which I'll get to in a minute, have a number associated with them, of which they are the digital sum. And that is the position of the clubs in the deck. So knowing that the 10 of clubs is in the deck, I can then make an adjustment for the 10 of hearts. I'd actually go 13 higher. So I get the 37, which is where the 10 of clubs is located. I add 13, which is actually a really nice number. That's going to be 50. So I now know if I go 50, well, just take the 2 cards away, back to the 50th card. I know I've got the 10 of hearts. If it was diamonds, I'd go down by 13. And if it was spades, I'd adjust by 26 in either direction. So all the numbers in the deck are the digital sum of the location of the clubs. For example, if it was 5, that is 1 and 4. Now, I know it's not 14 because it's an even number and all the numbers are odd. So I know it's going to be 41. So the 5 of clubs is at position 41. Therefore, I'd make an adjustment for whatever the suit was. 7, for example, is 25. So all the indexes are the digital sum of the location of the club card. Now you may wonder, well, yeah, but how do you know which digits you're going to be using? Well, I'll get to that in a second. There is an easy way, I think, to figure that out. I did allude to the fact that all the numbers are odd. A lot of the time, when you do the digits the wrong way around, it's an even number. Okay, so when you get the correct 2 digits, some of them are single digits, by the way. Like the ace of clubs is a single digit. The digital sum of 1, which is its position in the deck, is the ace of clubs position in the deck is position 1. The digital sum is 1. So when you have any ace, 1 is the number that you're going to remember there. And it can't be anything else, because the digital sum of 1 can't be anything else other than 1. Now there are 2 outliers. I'll get to in a second. I'll get to how you know, for example, that 5 isn't 3 and 2. How do you know it's 4 and 1? How do you know it's not 3 and 2? I'll get to that in a second. There are 2 outliers here, and that's the 2 and the queen. So the 2 and the queen are adjusted by 3 to get the correct number. Now if I take the first 13 cards out, you can see that the 2 of clubs is right here, and the queen of clubs is here. So whenever you get a 2, you have to adjust it by 3. You can't go down, you'd be -1. You've got to go up to 5. So the 2 of clubs is located in the 5th position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is. The queen, again, you've got to adjust it by 3. Can't go up, you'd be 15 because the queen is obviously 12. The index is 12. You can't go up to 15. You have to go down to 9. And here it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's the queen of clubs, 9th position in the deck. So you need to remember the 2 and the queen, adjusting them by 3. They do not use this digital sum system. They're the outliers here. But when you get to know the deck and you realise that the 2 and the queen are actually in the first 13, the top 13 cards, you kind of just get to know that to some extent. But there is another way that helps as well, and I'm crossing over here into talking about why we know which digits to use when we get our index. So all the picture cards use a 9. So I've just pointed out that the queen, you make that adjustment by 3, bring it from 12 to 9. The jack uses a 9. It's 9 and 2. It can't be 92. So because you know it uses a 9, and you know the other number has to be 2 to make that digital sum of 11, you know it must be 29. The king uses 9 and 4. It can't be 94 for obvious reasons. So the king of clubs is located at position 49. You just have to remember that the queen, when you see the queen, you don't go 12, 9 and 3. Don't do that. The queen is quite simply just adjusted by 3 to the single digit 9. So all the other numbers use a 1 apart from 4. For example, the 5 is 4 and 1. The 3 is 2 and 1. Okay? Now, with these numbers, for all of them apart from the 4, I'll get to that a bit later, they're all odd numbers. So these ones that use the digit 1, the 5 for example, you've got 4 and 1. 14 is an even number, so it has to be 41. It's always an odd number. 3 is 2 and 1. It's not 12 because that's an even number. It has to be 21. So a lot of these numbers use the digit 1. There are, however, 4 outliers, other than the picture cards that I've already pointed out use 9. Use the digit 9. These outliers are 6. This is double 3. So at least with the 6, it is an anomaly being a double number, double digit number. I find that easy to remember. Then you've got the 7 and the 9 and the 10. Now this is how I remember the 7 and the 9. So looking at the cards, other than I use a different deck so I don't want to spoil the order of the cards by accident. Other than the diamonds, because the diamond is a symmetrical motif, all the other 7s and 9s, the clubs, hearts and spades, if you look at the cards, they have, like the 9 here, look, it's got 5 spades one way and 4 spades the other way. Now you're not necessarily going to see the card. You may do a trick where you see a card and then find the card, possibly, but that's probably not going to happen for the most part. But if you can visualize the actual playing card in your mind and remember the pattern, you see there are 5 motifs one way and 4 the other way. So 9 is 5 and 4. because the 9 of clubs is in the 45th position in the deck. It can't be 54 for obvious reasons. The 7 is the same, so if I look at get a 7 here, the 7 of spades, let's use spades again. But let's use hearts to have a change, or clubs. Let's have a look. I'll use clubs. So you look at the 7 of clubs, you have 5 motifs one way, 2 another way. These are all upright, these 5 are upright, these 2 at the bottom are upside down. 2 and 5 are the digits that you're going to use to make 7. Now, it could be 52 if it wasn't an even number. You know it's 25 for that reason. But you also know that the 52nd card in the deck is the 4 of diamonds when you get to know the deck. So you know it's not the 52nd card isn't the 7 of diamonds anyway. The 7 of clubs, I mean. Now the 10, so the 6 is a double 3. The 7 and the 9, if you can remember the way the motifs are arranged on the playing cards, it'll help you to remember which digits you're going to be using. The 7 though, I don't know a system for this. It's just 7 and 3. I just remember that. So you have to just remember that the 6 is a double 3, the 7 is a 7 and 3. Did I say that right? The 10 is a 7 and 3. I don't know if I said it right. 10 is a 7 and 3. Now another one that could be confusing is the 4. Now the number 4 is again using the digit 1, just like the 3, the 5, the 8, which is 7 and 1, 17. The 4 uses the digits 1 and 3. However, why couldn't it be 31? Because in this instance, it's not an even number. 31 is odd, 13 is odd. So that's another one you have to remember. What helps with that though is that you always know, when you get to know the deck, you know that the sequences of 13 that you're using start with an ace and finish with a 4. And the first sequence starts with the ace of clubs and finishes with the 4 of clubs. The 4 is always the same suit as the ace. So you kind of get to learn that the 4 of clubs is 13. And you know that the last card in the deck is a 4, and that's the end of the sequence, the last sequence of 13. So you kind of get to know that the 4 isn't going to be 31, that it's going to be 13. And so that's pretty much the way it works. I'll look at the video afterwards and decide whether I'm going to print some reminders on the screen in text. If you've seen those, then that might help you. I may decide I don't need to do that. I may not be able to work out how to do it. I'll have to see. But that's the way the stack works. So if you can remember the sequence: ace, 5, jack, 8, 2, 9, 6, 3, queen, king, 10, 7, 4. Just go chased order, clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, clubs, hearts, spades, diamonds, all the way to the end, repeating the cycle. I think it's a pretty good stack. Works well for me anyway, but having said that, it is my stack that I've invented. Maybe we all need to invent our own stack if we're going to get into stacks. But having said that, I'm sure the Mnemonica stack and the Aronson stack are brilliant stacks, which I'll have to explore at some point. Being just a hobbyist magician, there's so much to learn, and I'm just getting into this. And getting into these stacks, I've learned something very, very interesting about having this stack, what can be done with it. And anybody that's still here, congratulations for sticking around through that lecture there. And I'm just going to show something that I discovered, one of the benefits of this particular stack. So as I've already pointed out, I can spread the deck and go, look, got a perfectly ordinary shuffled deck of cards. And at first glance, it does look like a perfectly ordinary deck of cards. No one's going to notice the red-black sequence. No one's going to see any patterns, not at that speed. And people generally don't want to investigate a deck of cards closely. There are tricks where you say, okay, study the deck. Study it really closely, but that rarely happens and nobody really cares, do they? Let's face it. But once you've got your cards in an arrangement like this, what this has got me into is Pharaoh shuffles, and what Pharaoh shuffles can do with stacks like this. So I'm going to attempt to do 2 Pharaoh shuffles, and I'm going to show you what happens to the deck with these Pharaoh shuffles. It may take me a couple of attempts to get this to work. Right, that's a good one. That's a good shuffle. One more of these, and I'm practicing my Pharaoh shuffles at this moment in time, trying to get them down, because this is the kind of thing that gives you a lot of power, along with a stacked deck. And I'll explain in a minute what I was just going to say. Okay, that's 2 good Pharaoh shuffles. So watch now what happens to the deck. I displayed it, and for all intents and purposes, it seemed like a shuffled deck. Now what I've got here is a mega powerful weapon. Because watch what happens when I spread the deck. Can you see? I don't know if you can see it. Let me get closer. Can you see that I've got 4 aces, 4 fives, 4 jacks, 4 eights, 4 twos, and so it goes on. I've got them in the same order that I had them to start with, but I've got groups of 4 right from the top of the deck all the way to the bottom of the deck. The entire deck is now in groups of 4. That's astonishing. Now obviously the trick isn't, oh look, I've got a shuffled deck. Oh, I'll do a couple of Pharaoh shuffles. Oh, now look, I've got the deck all into groups of 4. You're not going to tell anybody that this is what you've got. You're going to use this to do some amazing tricks. I don't know what you're going to do with it. I mean, obviously, what pops to mind immediately is some kind of poker trick, dealing hands. If you've got 4 people, let's deal you all a hand of cards. Stuff like that. Is obviously one application. But it's interesting when you do more Pharaoh shuffles. For talking about a poker hand, like if I did a poker hand right now, everybody would be getting a great hand, 4 of a kind, whatever. Now, depending on the order you had the cards, that might be exactly what you want. Or look, you've got 4 threes. You're feeling good about it. You're going to raise your bets. Next one's got 4 sevens, and then it turns out you've got 4 aces or something like that. But you keep shuffling, and you keep doing Pharaoh shuffles, and it changes up the deck in very interesting ways depending on what application you want. And the amazing thing is, what I didn't know, I've just learnt recently, is 8 Pharaoh shuffles in a row gets us right back to the original order of the deck. They have to be out Pharaoh shuffles, because there are 2 ways to Pharaoh shuffle. An out Pharaoh shuffle is if you retain, if this is the top of the deck, the top half and the bottom half. If I Pharaoh shuffle so that the top card remains the top card and the bottom card remains the bottom card, that's an out shuffle. Do it the other way, it's an in shuffle. So if I do out shuffles, 8 of those brings me right back full circle to the original order. If you do in shuffles, you need to do it 52 times to get back to that order, but you will get back there eventually. So yeah, so that's what I'm into at the moment. If you've stuck around all the way to the end of this half-an-hour video, then congratulations and thank you all so much for doing so. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you soon in the next one.